I am with the Dallas-Fort Worth office of the Commercial Service, and we are part of the International Trade Administration. So it's just one of Commerce's bureaus. So you can think about us as the export promotion arm of Commerce. And that's our mandate, is to work with small and medium-sized companies and helping them to expand internationally. And so before I get into my presentation, I really today want to share a little bit about DFW's international trade landscape, and then two, talk about the Commercial Service and the support, the programs and services that we offer to small businesses to help them to be able to expand internationally. And so I'll start off, I always like to start off with just talking about why exporting is so important. And I think for small businesses that are trying to really grow and scale, exporting is certainly, I think, an incredible option for them to consider and explore. And I always like to start off with some stats. So for DFW, we're actually the 7th largest exporter. We export about 39.5 billion in goods. And what's interesting about our market is that over 8,600 companies in the region are already exporting. And out of those 8,600 companies, 88% are small and medium-sized enterprises. And as we think about, what a small business looks like, or a profile of a small business, yes, we do kind of follow SBA standards, the Small Business Administration standards for that, which is typically what? Under 500 employees and a certain revenue, right, point. But I do want to highlight that a large majority of our clients have anywhere from 5 to 20 employees. So we really are talking about small companies that are doing the large majority of exporting. I want to share a little bit about our top export markets. So you see here that our largest export markets do fall in the Americas. So our number one trading partner is Mexico, where we export 6.7 billion in goods, followed by Canada at 5.8. And then you see we export close to 2 billion to markets like China, Japan, and Germany. Well, what is it that we are exporting? And I think that is going to be a very interesting question, because I like to say that DFW is certainly a dynamic market, and that we have a strong mix of different sectors. We're not known for just one particular sector. Maybe in West Texas, we're more known for energy and oil and gas. But if you look at DFW as a whole, we export a wide variety of products. And so our top export category is transportation equipment and manufacturing. And this includes a little bit of, you can think about automobiles, motor vehicles, light trucks. There's some aircraft manufacturing in that as well. And then it's followed by computer and electronic products. So as you think about our geographical area, and you think about, let's say, Richardson, you start to think about it being the telecom corridor for North Texas. You think about companies like TI and other companies. And so that is a really strong sector for the region. And then you also see aerospace products and parts. That's probably no surprise to most people when you start to think about, we actually have some of the world's largest aerospace and defense firms right here in our region. Think about, Bell Helicopter, Lockheed Martin, and those type of companies. And then smaller companies that actually are part of that supply chain. And then you see the other product categories: machinery, semiconductors, chemicals, electrical equipment. And so it's really good to be able to have such a large variety of products that do well abroad, because if there's one sector that's not doing so well, companies can start to diversify and look at other sectors they may go into. So I talked a little bit about our export categories. Now I want to share a little bit about the Commercial Service and who we are. So as I mentioned earlier, we're the lead government agency dedicated to assisting companies with growing their business by exporting their products and services into foreign markets. And really, as we look at our mission, our job is to grow U.S. exports to increase U.S. jobs. And we're able to do that by working through a global network of offices. And so we have offices in over 100 U.S. cities. And then we also have offices in the commercial section at U.S. embassies and consulates in over 80 countries. And so this picture here gives you an idea of where we actually have a Commercial Service office, the red push pins, and then where we actually work through the U.S. State Department, where you see the purple balloons. And how do we do this? I love to talk about how we do our work, because I think that the backbone of our organization really is our international trade specialists. that are based in local offices like my office, and then our commercial specialists that work at the commercial section of U.S. embassies and consulates. They are, in essence, consultants. They counsel companies, they provide guidance and expertise for really helping companies to determine which markets offer the most potential for their product or service, and then helping them to really develop an export strategy on how to go about actually pursuing those opportunities. So looking at if it's the case that they need to locate a distributor or an agent or a joint venture partner to market, and they will actually facilitate what we call business matchmaking services. Our big name is really Gold Key Service. So there's a lot of companies that know about us, but may not know that we are the commercial service or Department of Commerce or the U.S. Export Assistance Center. But they'll say, you're those Gold Key folks, right? And we're like, yes, that's us. We offer the Gold Key matchmaking service. And that's actually connecting U.S. companies with potential international partners. Before the COVID era, companies would travel to countries and actually meet face-to-face in person with potential partners. We are now doing more virtual matchmaking services. So I'll go and speak a little bit of how we actually deliver. This is a good depiction of how we actually work with a company to help them to expand. So it's really engaging the company and understanding what their needs are. So let's just say we have a company that is, I don't know, they manufacture, or maybe they distribute a cosmetic product. And they come and say, you know what, I'm interested in selling this cosmetic product in Central America. Can you help me to determine which markets really offer the most potential? Should I be focusing on Costa Rica, Honduras, or Guatemala? And our team will conduct research. We'll look at the trade data. We'll also look at just the market reception of that type of product, or how open the market is to U.S. goods in that particular sector. And then we will connect companies with our overseas office and help them to be able to connect with local partners in country. So it's really helping companies develop that export strategy, and then looking at what type of support we can offer to actually help the company be able to enter the market. So this is a good review of that. And then I'll talk a little bit about some of our actual services. So I talked a little bit earlier about market research and analysis. I really think that this is just an incredible step in the export process, really understanding where a company can be successful. Looking at the historic data, looking at the trade data, looking at what the different regulations are, understanding the tax structure, understanding what tariffs or taxes may be applied to the product, and really looking at the company's capacity to be able to expand. Can a company scale and be able to actually supply what the market demands? And then having the capital to do that, having the financial resources to do that. So we as consultants will work with various partners to help companies to become what we call export ready, right? Understanding and making sure that companies have a long-term commitment. That's one of the C's. They have the capacity and they have the capital. And so this slide here gives just a little bit of information about some of our services and programs, and more information can be found on our website at www.trade.gov. I want to go through this pretty quickly. This is really where it starts, understanding how to conduct market research. And I like to do this because companies can actually do this on their own. We can assist them with this, but they can actually go to our website, trade.gov. They can identify what we call the harmonized system number. It's also known as the Schedule B number. And this is really a number that's used to classify a product for export. And based on this number, they can start to review different trade databases to look at trade data and to look at what the US, what Texas, what DFW might be exporting of that particular product to any given country in the world. I think it's also important to review other type of market research reports. We have what we call the country commercial guides. These are like the Bibles to doing business in a country. And it goes through really the lead sectors for US exports and investment. It talks about how to comply with certain regulations. It also talks about if there's a need for applying for an export license. I mean, everything that a company would need to know to make a decision about pursuing an opportunity in a specific country. And we usually recommend that companies will start off with targeting 3 to 5 of the most promising markets for further assessment, just to ensure that they have the resources and they're able to do the market research that's necessary to be successful. I wanted to mention this website. Since this website, this is a Schedule B search engine, and this is where companies can go in and actually research what their Schedule B number may be. So they can literally go in there and enter paper clips or olive oil or cosmetics and be able to determine what their Schedule B number is going to be. I wanted to highlight this one because this is important where companies can really look at trade statistics. So they can look at the Trade Policy Information System, and there are a number of other databases. One of my favorites is Trade Stats Express, and that is, it doesn't require a subscription. Companies can go into that particular site and do a lot of the research to identify what the US or what a state is exporting of a particular product. Once again, kind of going into detail about the Trade Policy Information System. This is important, I think, where companies can really look at country reports and look at the demographics and the economy, how the economy is doing in a particular country. They can also look at some of the top trade partners by product and also research products by what we call NAICS codes and other codes. And so it's really an easy to use interface, and I think it's a great starting point for conducting market research. I talked a little bit about DFW's top trading partners as well as top export categories. How did I find that information? I found it here on the Trade Policy Information System. And so I went to what we call the Metro Exports database, and that's how I was able to locate that information. I talked a little bit about the country commercial guide already. You see here, it's a comprehensive guide to doing business in a particular country. And so as you look here, you see the different chapters. I really think that focusing on chapter 4 is where a lot of companies spend their time, and that's really looking at what are the lead sectors for US exports and investments in a particular country. And I think from there, wow, it just opens up a world of opportunities. Now, this website, this tool, I should say, the Market Diversification Tool. This is a tool for companies who are already exporting. So let's just say you've already exported to Mexico, Canada, Costa Rica, and now you're looking to expand into a new market. I highly recommend using the Market Diversification Tool. There's no cost to use this tool. You can go on the website, and what you'll need is just really 4 pieces of key information. You're going to need the actual product, right? So once again, going back to that harmonized system number, and you're also going to need to enter your current markets that you're exporting to, the markets that you would like to explore, right, exporting to, and then your company's zip code. And based on the information that you input is actually going to give you a ranking. So it's going to give you a score and a ranking based on weighting of a set of indices. And it's going to help you to really evaluate where you might want to focus your efforts. And so you may see that, wow, Guatemala happened to score high. Maybe I should really explore Guatemala and see what's happening there. And I might want to, connect with the commercial specialist at the embassy there to see if they can help me with identifying, potential partners, or maybe even attending a trade show or a trade mission to that particular market. So that's a great starting point for comparing your current export markets to markets that you might want to explore exporting to. So I kind of went through this already, but once again, it kind of shows you how this looks. You can see the different weights here. You can also see kind of the score that it gives. And if, when in doubt, it's great to kind of start off here and do the research on your own, but certainly contact our office and we'll have a trade specialist to actually review the results with you and help you to interpret the results and also develop a strategy for moving forward. I talked about this a little in terms of, when you're starting to look at a market or really consider if you want to start to actively explore exporting to that market, it's important to understand the trade data, right? To understand the economy, how open that country is to US products or services. But from a financial perspective, it's also important to understand what the tariffs and the taxes are. Because let's just say I'm considering exporting, going back to that example of the cosmetic product, and I see that the tariff, wow, it's 100% tariff. It is going to be very difficult for me to be successful in that market. And yes, I could consider passing on that cost to my buyer or my customer, but are they going to be able to actually afford my product? And am I going to be able to be profitable? So it's really important to consider what the different tariffs or the taxes are that are going to be applied to that product that you're exporting. And then 2, understand if the United States has a free trade agreement with that country. So I use Central America as an example. There's the Central America Free Trade Agreement. And so it allows companies to be able to export products. And in many cases, those products may go in duty-free, right? 0% tariff or reduced fee. So those markets are more accessible and companies have the chance of being more profitable or more successful in markets where we do have a free trade agreement. And so I think that it's incredibly important to explore that and to really sit down and talk to trade specialists, consultants, or in this case, as you start to talk about export documentation and shipping requirements, to really have a freight forwarder. Your freight forwarder can become what we call your BFF, your best friend forever. And so I think it's important to make sure that you're connected to the various resources that can help and provide assistance. And we're one of those resources, the Commercial Service Dallas-Fort Worth office. But I also like to mention too that we don't do this alone. We partner with other organizations to assist companies like the Chamber of Commerce. We also work very closely with other government agencies such as Small Business Administration, the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office, Minority Business Development Agency, Ex-Im Bank, and the list goes on. So if there's a certain area that we may not be able to best support a company in, we call upon our resource partners and strategic partners to provide assistance. So we try to be kind of I want to say one-stop shop, but I think the gateway is probably a better word to making sure that companies get the resources that they need. And then lastly, I wanted to share just some of our upcoming events. I know I share a lot of information in this presentation. Daryl told me I need to be quick and get to the point. So I wanted to make sure I share the most important resources with you. But I will mention that we also conduct a number of webinars, and a lot of these webinars are free of no charge. So we conduct webinars on doing business in a specific region, on exploring opportunities in a specific industry sector, or just how to apply for an export license. So export licensing, international methods of payment, protecting your intellectual property, and so on. So if you're interested in learning more about those educational webinars, visit our website, trade.gov. And then you'll also be able to explore some upcoming events such as Caribbean Regional Trade Mission and some other events that we have coming up. I do want to mention that we do have an export education training series that is starting on September 23rd. That first session is completely free, and we'll be talking about how to determine if you're export ready. When do you know that you're ready to start exporting? So I highly recommend you attend that. And then the following sessions, October 14th and October 21st, we're going to talk about the different pillars of exporting. So this is when we get into the nitty gritty and start to talk about developing export strategy, international methods of payment, international logistics and export documentation, and so on. And then we hope that November 5th, we'll be able to come together in an in-person event where companies connect with our resource partners. So more information to come on that. And so I'm actually wrapping up my presentation now, and I'm going to turn it back over to Daryl to see if there are any questions. And before I do that, actually, I want to introduce some members of my team. It looks like Vartika Varshni is on. And so she is a new trade specialist with our office. She's been with us for well over a year and has done some incredible work. And she's going to be on to assist with Q&A. We may actually have another member of our team joining us. I don't know if she's joined yet, but she may be joining us in a few minutes. So Daryl, I'll turn it back over to you.
Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate it. And yes, we do have another member, and hopefully we'll get her up here. And she should be popping in. There she goes. So I want to remind you, if you are in our Zoom and you have a question, you can post it in the Q&A section, or you can post it in the chat section. If you're on Facebook, you can post your question in the chat or the comment section on Facebook, and I will read it aloud, and then it could be answered as well. So just write your comment in the comment section on Facebook or in the chat or Q&A here on the Zoom. So welcome. Is it Leela?
Yes, hi. It's good to see everyone.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you guys?
Great, great. So Leela, what do you do with the organization?
I am actually the commercial services newest intern. I joined in May, and so I'll be on for another year, hopefully transitioning to a trade specialist somewhere along the way. But I'm just here to support the Dallas office team in any way that they need help, and also help out with some client work too.
Eli, you don't sound like you're from around here.
Yeah. Well, I guess, yeah, this comes up all the time. It's fine. I grew up in Denver, but I was born in Ukraine. So sometimes, yeah, I guess like my tones are off, so you can tell.
Well, that's one of my little hobbies, actually. I didn't know where you were from. I like to try to be able to pick out the accent, but I was nowhere. I had nothing.
Yeah,
So.
good job.
Okay, Vartika, tell us a little bit about yourself.
So as Jessica introduced me, I have been with the commercial service for a little over a year now, and but I've lived in Dallas for 12 years at this point. So I guess I should say that I am from Texas.
Or you got here as soon as you could, right?
Yes.
That's what we say. So welcome both of you. So,
Thank you.
I think the tool that you have is pretty good, because I'm sure a lot of people would come and bug you like, well, this is what I want to do. How you think that'll work? Either here, go to the tool.
Absolutely. No, I certainly that's part of what we do, right? We work with companies and we're more than willing to conduct market research for them. But I think that, companies have this, and it's available for them to actually go on when they're, sometimes I know entrepreneurs, they're up at night and they have an idea or thought, right? They're getting up and they're like, I need to do this now while it's on my mind, or some people jot it down. So I think for them to be able to access these databases and actually go on our website and just take a quick look to see what they discover. And then if it becomes something that, what they say, I really want to pursue this opportunity and I need more customized market research, let me contact the commercial service and see how they can assist.
Great. Well, now, okay, so I had this question. I know I could go on the thing and do what you just said, but y'all, I'm assuming that y'all have a lot of experience at this. So can you just tell me some stuff that don't work? Like, don't try to go and sell fruit in the Caribbean, for instance. I mean, I don't know, just give me some, can you throw out some things like that like, don't waste your time?
Yes, absolutely. No, that's a great example, Daryl. I think that, you hit the nail on the head. So absolutely. It may not be the best idea to go and try to sell avocados, right? Or export avocados to Mexico, right? That's one of the largest markets that actually we import avocados from. So it just goes back to really understanding the market dynamics, right? Conducting the market research, doing the due diligence. And I would say, regardless of what the product is, it's important to really take a step back and think about why you want to export in the first place, right? Is it,
that's it, that's all.
Reason, right? To make a profit. Absolutely. It's all about the money. It's all about the bottom line. I get it. I would say, though, what is unique with exporting, you're not jumping in exporting to make a quick dollar. So if that is your intention, you may not be successful. I don't see a lot of success with companies who are, it's kind of like just jump in and trying to, have this overnight wander to happen. It just doesn't happen like that, because exporting is a long-term commitment. You're not dealing with someone just down the street from you, right? You're dealing with another culture, another language. You have to consider the market dynamics, how people do business, how people perceive business in that particular market. So there are more considerations, right, that come into play. And so I think that's why it's so important to have that long-term commitment. And if you are the person that, let's just say you're the person that would be the international trade manager or international sales manager, it's important to have commitment from the top because you can find these great opportunities. And if you don't have senior leadership or senior management to sign off on it, then you're kind of going to be in a place where you might start to feel stuck. And so I think that you have to have that commitment. And once again, I talked about capacity, but I've seen where, let's just say you were surprised, you're like, wow, I did find a really good market for my makeup, for these cosmetics, right? But then you realize, you know what, I don't even know what I should be charging. I haven't developed a pricing strategy. I don't even know, right, if I'm able to supply what they're asking for. I don't have the capacity. And then you're scrambling, trying to be able to scale. And you don't want to be in that situation because you might lose the interest of your buyer, right, or of your partner. And I think that it does take some capital. So I'm not going to say that, if you don't have X amount, that you shouldn't consider exporting, but it goes back to the saying, it takes money to make money. And if you're not able to invest in marketing, you're not able to invest in assigning or, appointing a distributor, then you may be in a challenging situation and you may see that you're not going to be as successful as you envision, especially not in the very beginning, right? So those are some things that I would consider.
But one thing I know from business school, UTA, shout out to UTA.
Shout out.
The truth of the matter is, even large corporations make mistakes when it comes to attempting to export. And the classic that I was taught is General Motors. And I don't know if y'all know this, y'all probably know the story. And back in the day, they had a car called the Chevy Nova. And it was pretty, it was like an economical car, and it was sold pretty well in the United States. And so they tried to sell it in Mexico, but it got zero. Nobody would buy it. You know why, Jessica? I think you know
because
why.
It doesn't go. That's
like, what Nova means in Spanish.
No one wants to buy a car that is called, it doesn't go. It's like, what is the point, right? Absolutely.
This don't go. There's supposed to be a car, but it don't. That's the name of it. So, and that's, that's such a simple thing that maybe you might want to find out what your name means in that country.
Absolutely. It's simple but powerful, right? And that's the thing. I know that, sometimes it's the smallest things that we don't necessarily think about. So once again, I think it just goes back to make sure that you're leveraging the resources available to you. So something like that, right? We could call upon Artika and Leela, who are incredibly knowledgeable and are willing, right, to conduct the research to help companies and to be able to provide that type of intel. So, make sure that you leverage the resources that are available to you. I can't stress that enough.
While I have you, while we're saying that, would you give out the information where you guys can be reached again?
Yes, absolutely. So our website is www.trade.gov. And actually on our website, you'll be able to identify the contact information for all of our international trade specialists. So in addition to Vartik and Leela, we have trade specialists, and they each cover about 3 to 4 industry sectors. And so they assist companies that represent those sectors to be able to explore opportunities abroad.
I have some people on the Facebook that I know have products like, and I'm surprised I don't have any questions, but some of these folks, I know that they have makeup lines, and some of it's oil and so forth for hair, forgive me, conditioning, whatever, for the hair, especially if you're doing locks and those natural types of hairstyles. So can you give them any specifics for those types of products? I think there's some lipstick folks and some bath oil and soaps and those types of things. I don't know.
Yeah.
They didn't ask any questions, but I don't know why Miss New Ranisha didn't say anything, but can you help them out?
Yes. And so I think that as you start to look at those type of products, and I'm not the expert when it comes to this, Kenneth Hayes in our office covers cosmetics, and that also covers hair products, skincare products and such. But from my
they cover weave too?
Yes, that's right. That falls in that category as well.
What's his name? Because that's, we can do that.
Yes,
Kenneth,
Kenneth Hayes.
Kenneth Hayes.
Yes.
Are y'all trying to sell weed and wigs? Y'all custom make the wigs and all that good stuff. Kenneth is who you need to talk to. So
That's
that
right.
means y'all don't have to just compete here in the United States, but maybe you can do it internationally. Although you're gonna have to, y'all getting the hair from India anyway. So I don't know how that's gonna work. That's why you need to go to the toolkit to see if that makes sense, right?
That's right. Absolutely. But what I will say about that is, from my experience, and really looking at those type of products, I think it's important to look at backgrounds, right, of people where those products fit. So if it is the case of, I'm just going to say, it might not be the proper term, but ethnic skincare or ethnic hair products, then you start to look at markets where people of different backgrounds, right, nationalities and walks of life, where that aligns. So that might look like looking at markets actually in Central and South America. I know from my experience in like traveling to Brazil, for example, where you have large population of people from African descent, right?
But they all got good hair in Brazil, don't they?
It depends on where you go. What is good hair though? That's a whole nother topic. I'm not going there with you, Daryl. No. You say good hair. I am not going there. They have different texture, and some have straight hair, right? But I know that is a large market for skincare and hair products. And there are other markets as well in the Caribbean. If you think about markets like Dominican Republic, for example, right? Those are markets that I would start off exploring if I were trying to export, cosmetics or hair and skincare products, right? So that's, I just wanted to put in that quick plug, but that hair topic is quite interesting.
And so when y'all go down there, y'all can take a vacation down there, and then you can see what you can do about selling some products there, and so you can write your vacation off. But you need to check with your CPA to be sure, because I'm not one. But that's the idea. I've learned that so that you know. All right. What about importing? I know we're talking about doing business international, so you think about the idea that I have a product here that I want to export. But one of the shocks of my life, not just like a couple of years ago, someone came to my office, and I don't even remember what we were talking. It was a business consultation, but a sidebar happened because she had this big sack of this heavy thing, this heavy nut thing, and turns out it was cocoa butter.
Wow.
And it blew my mind because I didn't know where cocoa butter came from.
Yeah.
And it blew my mind that it came from a tree. I think she was from Ghana. And it's like, it's huge. And it's cocoa butter.
Yes. How neat is that? I've seen what you're talking about. I was amazed as well.
Right. Just blew my mind. So it crossed my mind even then that the possibility of maybe connecting with someone who is in Ghana or wherever that has that connection to import something like that and do whatever you need to do to process it or what have you to sell it here in the United States. So can you talk about import possibilities?
I can, and it's simple. Our focus is not imports. However, we do work with organizations such as various chambers of commerce that support companies when it comes to importing and perhaps finding suppliers in other countries. So some of those chambers are the U.S.-Mexico Chamber of Commerce, U.S.-India Chamber. There's the East Africa Chamber of Commerce and the African Chamber of Commerce that are really active here, and DFW. So as we have inquiries from companies that say, I'm looking for a supplier of this particular product in, like you said, in Ghana or in a specific market, then we will refer them to the proper Chamber of Commerce.
So another shocking thing that happened to me, some years, 10, 20 years ago, I was in Atlanta, and I went to a kind of an African store, import store, right? And I'm looking at this, these figurines that are made out of alabaster, I believe, right? And so I'm looking at them, and I kind of think I'm a little bit of a collector. I got a little knowledge, which is make you dangerous. But I'm looking at it, and I'm looking at this thing, and I'm saying to myself, this does not look like a copy, but it's like of a Egyptian king or something, right? And I'm looking at it, and everything in me tells me that this is not a copy. And there's several of them, and they're only like 25 bucks or something, right? And so, but that's not adding up in my mind. So when I talked to the person told me that you're correct. They are original. They're all original pieces.
Wow.
He said, they're just not ancient. I'm like, what? He said, well, the people still do the same crafts that they did 1,000 years ago.
That's amazing. Yeah.
Again.
Did you get a few?
I did. I absolutely did. And
Awesome.
now I can fake like I got, and I can tell them I got some original.
There you go.
That's right. So I'm gonna remind you, if you have anyone, we have about another 15 minutes or 10 minutes left. So if you have questions, please type it into the chat or into the Q&A if you're on Zoom. And if you are on Facebook, please post your question in the comments section. So if you're looking at doing business internationally, whether you want to export, which is primarily what we're talking about here, or even if you have an idea that you want to import a product because maybe you have a connection, maybe you've been to another country and you've seen something that you like, wow, we need this in America. And that's how things happen, really does. Wow, would love to have this in America. So now you can, through this organization, you can get connected with someone there maybe who can help you import that product. The same thing happens, you could be in a different city or a different part of town, and you could see that they have a particular business over there, but you don't have it in your neighborhood. So you may want to bring that gives you the idea, hey, I could do that here and people would buy it. So again, if you have any questions, post it in the comment section on Facebook or in Zoom. If you want to contact me about any of this, I'm at dbrewer@fwmbcc.org. That's DBREWER at FWMBCC.org. And I wrote it down. You can go to www.trade.gov. Boy, that's the shortest. Between you and SBA, y'all got the shortest.
That's pretty neat, isn't it? Yeah.
Right.
Remember.
Okay, so finally, Ms. Rodnisha, she asked the question, are there any classes that she can take? She came in late. I had to tag her in to get over here. Any classes? I don't know if you want to pull up that again, the section where you have the classes and those things available. You have to share your screen. I don't know, did you
absolutely.
take it? Yeah,
yes, I can.
All that good stuff that you have available, so she can take a picture of that and other people that may come in a little late. So whenever you're ready.
Absolutely. I'll share my screen. I wish I actually had the flyer. I don't have the flyer. Maybe Leela or Ratika has the flyer of our export education training, but I'll go ahead and show. It's taking place, the training series that I'm referring to is going to be September 23rd through November 5th. So the first session is completely free and it's going to take place virtually. It's from 2 to 4. And that is going to be really just discussing how you can determine if you're export ready. So what do I need to consider as I'm trying to, really see if I want to pursue exporting? And it goes back to, we talk about the various C's. Once again, we'll talk about commitment, capacity, capital, the ability to be able to even modify. If you're already selling products here in the US and you're looking to export, we'll talk about your ability to be able to modify packaging, for example, to be able to comply with certain regulations that are specific to the country that you'll be exporting to. So you can find more on our website, and then we'll see too if we can maybe pull up the flyer on the actual training so that you have the link to be able to register.
Yes, I'm actually going to put the file of the flyer in the chat here, so that you all can have access to it, and I'll send it over to Daryl as well, just in case. And there you have the direct links to the registration page and all the information.
Thank you so much, Layla. Hi, Daryl. I think you're on mute.
Thank you so much. So I will post it on our Facebook page. I will send it out. If you send me that flyer too, and the link or whichever, we'll also send out directly through email to our members. So that's why you need to be a member.
That's right.
$200 if you have less than 20 employees. So that's a bargain. All right, so let's see if there are any other. Oh, so another question is, are you aware of any specific grants for small business or funding that could help that process out?
Yes, I am. So Department of Commerce, we do not offer grants. I should say our particular bureau, ITA, International Trade Administration. However, the Small Business Administration has a grant. It's actually administered by the Texas Department of Agriculture and the state of Texas, and it's called the State Trade Expansion Program. And so the STEP grant, and companies can apply. There are certain criteria to be able to qualify for STEP funds, but once approved, companies can actually use those funds for international marketing activities. So let's just say a company wanted to participate in one of our programs, the International Partner Search, to identify partners in a specific country. They can actually use those STEP funds to cover the cost of that particular service. And it's pretty extensive. So it really ranges. There might be a company that says, wow, I need to globalize my website to make it more attractive for international customers. They could also use STEP funds to work with a service provider to make certain modifications to their website to help them improve or enhance their digital presence or digital strategy, and be able to, better connect with potential partners. So it can be used for a number of international trade activities. Once again, that is STEP grant, and that's offered by the Small Business Administration.
I got something slick to say. So how much money are we talking about?
It varies, Daryl. But I think that now companies can qualify for up to 10 grand.
All right. That's significant. Now, y'all don't act like y'all did on the PPP stuff.
I don't think I have much to say about that. This is
not talking to you. They know who I'm talking about. Some of you folks out there.
Yeah.
Don't do that. I saw the other day where some folks getting ready to get put out of public housing because they said they had a business, they made X number of dollars on PPP. No, you need to keep your books right. Okay. I'm a jokester, but I'm telling you the truth. All right. So we have about 7 more minutes left. I'm in the middle of the program here, and I appreciate everybody. I'm going to ask you again if you will. Do you need me? Does this have to do with the webinar? I feel like I'm at home and the kids came in the room.
It happens. Well, we are working in a virtual environment, right? So it is not unlikely that you might see, someone's cat on the screen or something like that. We're used to that. So I think it's all good. It's in this environment.
Well, glad it's nothing worse than that, right? All right. Last call for alcohol. Anybody else have any other questions via the chat or Facebook? I don't see anything. So I think I'm gonna give it back to you, Jessica. If you have anything else you want to just kind of finish up and tell our audience.
Yeah, thank you. I would say that just in summary, that now is a good time to really start to consider exporting. I think for companies, once again, that have had to, like I said, diversify, right, and really be able to look at how they can grow and expand their business. I think that exporting allows that opportunity as you are now opening up to really explore customers around the world, right? So you're expanding your customer base, clientele. And I think exporting is a great way to do that. I know there's a lot of business to be done in DFW, but this is just one part of the world, part of the global economy. So I think it does take, an effort, it does take hard work, and it does take due diligence. But I think that exporting is a lucrative business. And I do think that there are numerous resources that can really be helpful and support a company as they're considering that next step. So it is, I think it's an amazing opportunity. As you can see, I am just one of I'm a cheerleader for exporting, because I can see how it can take a company from, having 2 or 3 employees to 20, 30 employees. And I've seen how companies have been successful over time. And I think that's the beauty in it. And I did see too how they did go through, had to navigate certain challenges. But I think that is just all a part of, right, being a business owner, an entrepreneur, right? Entrepreneurs are accustomed to taking on challenges and developing strategies and plans and navigating and activating. And so I think that's what really is, kind of like just the benefits of exporting. You're always exploring and always learning, right? You're learning about new markets, you're learning about, new regulations. And so it is, it's a fulfilling, I think it's a fulfilling space to work in. And I think that now is a good time, especially for minority-owned and women-owned and veteran-owned businesses, to start considering exporting, as there are specific programs and initiatives that really speak to how to help underserved businesses expand globally. So consider exporting. And of course, if you have questions or if you need support, feel free to contact our office, the Commercial Service Dallas-Fort Worth office. And then if we can assist you, we'll be sure to make sure that we connect you to our resource partners. So thanks again, Daryl, for the opportunity to be here. And thanks to Vartika and Leela for coming on as well.
I appreciate you so much. Now, can you give us information to the Dallas office? I know you mentioned trade.gov, but is there information to the Dallas office if they want to talk to Kenneth Hayes?
Yeah, to talk to Kenneth Hayes, yes. So I would go on a website, and if you want to go to our specific website, is www.trade.gov/Texas Dallas Fort Worth. I know that was a little bit longer than what we talked about earlier, but that's our site, that's our website. So that'll take you directly to our website.
Okay, because folks were asking me about contact information, and so there you go. You can just go to the website, trade.gov, and then usually if you don't do the / stuff, usually you can go through and there's a location and all that good stuff, and you finally get to the person. But if you know where you're going / Dallas Fort Worth, forward Dallas, if you're on this side.
That's right. And we can, if it helps, I can post it in the chat as well, and that way everyone will have it.
All right, very good. So we thank y'all so much for taking out the time to join us today. We appreciate all of the great information that you've given us, and we will be in contact for sure. So thank you very much for coming.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. With that, I'm just going to remind you of a couple things. Number one, that we had the groundbreaking this morning at 9 a.m. for the Texas State Veterans Home, named for the Tuskegee Airmen. So it's officially the Tuskegee Airmen Texas State Veterans Home that's located in the area of I-20 and Campus Drive near the South Campus, TCC South Campus. So that's a great thing. It will bring, its initial construction is about $30 million. And after that, there will be goods and services that will be ongoing, you know, whether it's laundry, yards, painting, what have you, ongoing services. So we will definitely be on that to make sure that we get you information if you would like to apply for those contracts. So also this afternoon, this evening from 5 to 7, we have the Tri-Chamber, the fourth chamber, the fourth Hispanic Chamber, and the fourth Metropolitan Black Chamber of Commerce. We'll all get together tonight from 5 to 7 for business after hours. You can certainly contact me at dbrewer@FWMBCC.org. You can go on our Facebook page, and we will be able to provide that information for you. So it's 1 o'clock. And next week, who do we have? I didn't write it down. So we'll see you next week on Thursday from noon to 1, if God says the same. So you have a great week. Bye-bye now.